Today's video is about Professor Kumu Tammy Haili'opua Baker. There has been a plethora of information written, discussed, and published about her brilliant career at the University of Hawaii, Manoa. She has written a long list of plays, most of which she has produced and directed in local Hawaiian theater, both at the Kumu Kahua Theater and at the Kennedy Theater on the University of Hawaii Manoa campus. The video we are about to watch is about Kumu Baker's life before she came to the University of Hawaii. The original interview was 30 minutes. We are featuring 8 minutes of excerpts from the interview by the host Donna Blanchard in her internet series Think Tech Hawaii. Donna asked the right questions and Kumu gave an insight into her early years. Mahalo, Miss Donna Blanchard and Kumu Baker. Let's begin.
Tammy Haili'opua Baker, Assistant Professor of Hawaiian Theater and Playwriting in the Department of Theater and Dance at the University of Hawaii, Manoa. Here to talk about her work combining language and theater. Welcome to the show, Tammy.
Mahalo for having me. I guess we'll go right back to little childhood.
Yeah.
Hanabata days. I grew up on the island of Kauai, in Kapahi actually, Pu'uka'a, upper Kapahi area, more country area. However, the first 8 years of my life, I was living next door to my grandmother and also next door to Mama-san and Papa-san, who were plantation workers who had developed houses for themselves and turned them into rentals over time. So I grew up in this plantation atmosphere where we had a very minimal lifestyle. We raised chickens and we grew food, lived off the land a little bit, never had running water in for a bath and toilet. That was all outhouse. Real meager living, I think. And then when I was about the 3rd grade, so going into about 9 years old, my parents actually pulled enough money together to buy a place of their own. And my mom actually went to work at that time. That was the first time my mom actually went out and got a job from the time I was a baby. And then she had my sister and I. And from there, we continued working pasture lands and having cattle. My grandpa was a paniolo, I guess you could say. He was a cattleman, and so was all his friends and my uncles and on my dad's side of the family. So I grew up with that kind of country living, I guess, that taught me a lot about work ethic and grounded me, I think, as a person. My family till today, like all my uncles and cousins, they're all still hunters and gatherers. You know, they live off the land and do hunting and fishing, and that's a kind of lifestyle I was surrounded by as a youth. And it's given me a great respect for everything, all the blessings that have come in my life, you know, because we grew up with nothing really in the beginning. You tend to really appreciate the food on your plate when you have to go and get the eggs every morning before you go to school or whatever like that. And then the storytelling is really important to us because that's how traditions and histories were passed down. And so storytelling has always been a cornerstone for me, you know, and that's something that I try to continue to practice till today. Not as often now, but when my children were younger, every night there was a story before they went to bed. And it was usually a telling story, not necessarily reading from a book.
So you were exposed to the language young enough, do you think, that you naturally latched on?
I was around it, and so I think that my ears perhaps had an understanding of sound patterns, and granted there were some phrases and words that you understand, but I was never conversational until I went to the university. In high school, I had a year of Hawaiian, and then our Kumu, he left. So there was no more Hawaiian at Kapa'a. And then it wasn't until I enrolled at Manoa that I, was able to re-embrace that and take multiple years of Hawaiian and become conversational and more fluent in the language.
Gotcha. So you went through that program and you worked, what was your primary mode of artistic expression?
Acting,
Okay.
yeah, acting. And then because we did musicals most of the time, everyone was expected to, learn to be a triple threat, right?
Yeah.
So going to Manoa was a little bit of a hurdle. I ended up, though, very fortunate getting into the College Opportunities Program, which was a program for minority retention students that allows you to experience college life the summer before your freshman year. And if you pass, you can enter the university in a probationary status.
Oh, wow.
And so I got into the program, did very well because I wanted to stay on Oahu. This was like moving to the big city, right?
Yeah.
Coming from Kauai, which was the rock, right? The country and everything. This is where, things could happen in my mind. I could learn so much more from different people and make a difference, I think. So entered the university, and my freshman year, I declared theater as a major. And then, I want to take a Hawaiian language class. You need a language, so I took Hawaiian. And then in my mind, right, over the years was this, oh man, that would be so cool if we had Hawaiian plays.
Really?
Right,
You were thinking
really.
that young?
Exactly. Like, in my early 20s, really, I was thinking, wow, I think that would be really awesome. And as I was, learning theater, there was this wonderful exposure to Asian theater forms and Western theater. There's so much happening. Manoa is just I don't think there's anything like it in the nation.
I don't
really.
think there is either.
So there was this really cool kind of synergy going on, and I was learning about, what Hawaiian plays existed, and they were really far and few in between, and it was quite new, actually. Entering Manoa in 1990, actually, as a freshman, really the Hawaiian stuff was just starting to come out. So then I find that, but there's nothing all in Hawaiian. And a friend of mine, Rapley Nabori, who was working on his MFA in directing at the time that I was working on my undergrad, he had done a Hawaiian play in the lab theater as a kind of an experimental in conjunction with Kumu, John Lake, actually, and his halau performed in that. And I saw that and I was like, yes. And they actually did one in English, so they were chanting in English, chanting like Hawaiian chant style, but in English, right? And so there was Umialiloa, and then he did Death of Keoua. And my friends actually were involved in those two plays who were students of Kumu Lake, right? So I have a conversation with Rapley, and I say, Rapley, I want to do this in Hawaiian. And he says, well, you're going to have to write it. And I went, what? No, I'm going to find a play. Because, I'm excited about directing at that time. Having a few years of being a performer, I saw directing as maybe the next step, or the opportunity to really be in control of the creative process and paint the pictures. So I really didn't think I was going to have to write it.
Yeah.
And that's actually what came to pass. Yeah. If I wanted to do it, I had to write it.
I had to write it.